Hey, how's it going, everybody? Coach D here, once again with the Last Dance Baseball Tournament podcast. And the first week is over. So some coaches moved on. We're talking with one today. And some coaches had their 3 games. They went 2-1, depending on tournament play, and they didn't make it. Others went 2-1 and actually got to move on to the next round. Well, we're talking to a coach who went 3-0. 3-0. And with me once again is I'm so happy to have him back. We went really long last time. We promised we'll make it a little bit shorter this time. And with me is a coach, is a Group 4 champion winner, 2018 Sports Network Coach of the Year. And I think if I counted right, he's got about 13 South titles somewhere down there.
Something like that. A South. Yeah, we've won a few. It's good when you don't know off the top of your head. That means it's more than a couple, so that's a good thing.
Yeah. So with me once again is the coach of the Jackson Memorial High School, Frank Malta. Coach, how's it going?
Great, man. Thanks for having me again. I really appreciate it.
Well, Coach, you made it through the first round, and you were able to relax a little bit for some of those games. Yeah, take some of the pressure off. Can you describe what it was like when you guys, the very first pitch, or like right before the game, or when everybody got to the field? Can you just describe the excitement and how things were between you and your team?
Yeah, man, just a lot of juice. We talk about it all the time, the JU ice, the juice, just, the excitement of it. Our boys were really excited to be back on the field with each other. I think once it got going, it just felt, felt like any other, like every game that we've played with this group of guys, because, most of these kids have been with us since they're sophomores and freshmen. So, I mean, they were amped up. They were excited. And, we were playing too, Brick Memorial at their complex. It was a brand new field. They redid the whole thing. And we'd been to that complex for, I don't know, maybe the last 10 years playing. But they had just resurfaced it. So it was brand new and it played great. And that was another thing that just excited the boys. They saw the field they were playing on. And it was awesome. We had a great 2 games there. And then, we were able to win last night, at First Energy Park. And anytime you can play in one of the minor league stadiums, when you're a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid, even for us as coaches, that's a pretty great event. That's a pretty great night. And, we made the most of it.
Yeah, you guys played on that brand new field over at Brick. And then right after that, you played at First Energy Park. So, I mean, nothing.
Pretty good surface.
Yeah, that's great. And for fans, it's great to watch inside of a stadium as opposed to looking behind a fence the whole time, because those fences have gotten higher in the last 15 years. You're sitting in the bleachers at a high school game, and there's a fence in your way. You can sit at the top of the bleacher, the fence is still in your way. But it's for safety reasons. We understand.
Absolutely. And the great thing about the stadium, too, is that it was so much easier to social distance. My wife and my daughters were able to, sit away from other people. The Blue Claws they did a great job of putting that together and, just making sure people had masks and, making sure people were social distancing. They did the right thing, and it was a really good thing.
Yeah, the stadium seating, even if there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 700 people in there. I mean, there's a couple games I was in a whole section by myself.
Yeah.
It was great. Take the, you can, if nobody's close, you can take the mask off, or you're just there with you and somebody. It's the stadiums and the fact that all these stadiums have gone out of their way to open up their doors and let you, because let's face it, they're not making a lot of money on what's going on.
Not right now, no. Mm-mm. Yeah, the fact that they were able to do that and Mike was able to get them for this, hats off to them. Kudos to them for wanting to be a part of it and for wanting to make this a little bit more special for the kids to be able to play in that atmosphere.
Yeah, and of course, you're talking about the St. Joe's varsity baseball coach and athletic director Mike Murray, who put this whole thing together. Yeah, I mean, just for him to get all the teams together, 222 teams to run a tournament, separate, get all the fields, and then on top of that, by the way, hey, you get to play at First Energy Park where the Lakewood Blue Claws play, and we got the Yogi Berra Museum Field, and we got where the Trenton Thunder play. We have the Arm and Hammer, and all the. I mean, Mike Murray has just done a great job with everything, just nonstop.
Yeah.
And
if logistically, it could be a night. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead. You cut me off. Go ahead.
I mean, logistically, with all those moving parts and all those fields being used and all those teams, it could be a nightmare. But I think it went off pretty well. I don't think there were many issues at all. I think, when you're trying to put this together the way that they were putting it together, I think they've done a fantastic job, so it's been great. It's been great to get our guys back on the field, and it's been great to allow our seniors to enjoy these, hopefully these next couple weeks. That's our plan. So we'll see.
So, Coach, how'd you feel about the first 3 games and about going into the next game?
Yeah, awesome, man. I think the fact that our first 3 games, we dialed it up and designed it so that we could um, really let our seniors show out, and we have 15 seniors. So, you can only get 9 on a field, right? So those guys we still had to share some time. We still had to find and be a little creative in getting guys on the field. And, we did, each guy had an opportunity and had opportunities to do things, whether it was making some big plays or getting a big hit or creating an inning or, things like that. And, I was so happy for the way that, our seniors have played so far. This thing has been put together for them, to give them that opportunity to get on the field again with their teammates. And, the fact that our guys performed the way that they did and everybody had a piece of it, I think makes it even more special that we were able to get these 3 games and now have an opportunity to go play in that round of 16. So we're excited about it. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm sure the excitement, deep down inside never goes away for the athletes. But at the end of the day, it is a tournament, and you're trying to win the game. So all of the excitement just to be there, because a lot of teams went home out of 222 teams. More than half, 67% of the teams are gone. But now you're still like, okay, well, we made it to the next round. So now 1 game. So now it comes down to 1 game. So you extend your season. So how do you feel about going into the next game?
Good. I think we're taking advantage of these days in between now to, kind of line up our pitching again. I think that's a big deal. I think we were very fortunate. We were a club that was very fortunate because, we ran deep with arms, and we had arms that could play 3 games in a row and that could log the innings. Our kids haven't thrown, they haven't pitched competitively. So, our plan was not to stretch anybody out. Our max was 4 innings, depending upon pitch counts and things like that. We were able to do it twice, so it was a help. But again, our guys were attacking the plate, and it allowed our pitching to, control the game, and I think that was the biggest deal for us. And now, we're gonna work out these. We took today off, after the 3 days, and now we'll work out the next 3 days. We'll get ourselves prepared, line up our pitching again and be able to bring guys back. And, we're still going to piggyback innings. I still don't foresee guys really stretching out that far, now. But, now it's just 2 games. So, I mean, we have a little bit more leeway in terms of how we're going to work those arms into the game and how we can strategize those arms into the game as well, to be able to give ourselves the best opportunity to win and move on.
What do you find is now you won 3 games. You won by a significant amount of runs. So maybe I'm asking this to the wrong coach, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What do you find was more challenging because you weren't able to practice with the team, or more difficult that you noticed in these games as opposed to how things normally are in a regular season?
Well, for me, and it was funny, I turned around at one point in the first game. I didn't know the inning, the outs. I knew the score because it was on the scoreboard. But, my main thing was just making sure that we were working guys into the game. I try to be a pretty organized person, so I had this whole schematic of all 7 innings. I drew it up, and when guys were going in, when guys were coming out. We talked about guys being prepared and being warmed up so that they knew when they were going in. That was my biggest concern for these 3 games. And I was very forthcoming with my guys, and my guys are they're ultra competitive kids, and if they're going to play in this thing, they want to win this thing. But we talked about the spirit of what the last dance was, and for the seniors, and I told our guys, I said, look, I'm working everybody in to get them opportunities, and our guys are great about it. They understand that stuff. They're mature kids. So that was the difference, during the high school season. We're not always thinking, that we will sometimes talk to guys about roles in the beginning of the year, and what's to be expected, over the course of the next 25 to 30 games. And, this was different though. This was, this for us was, being able to showcase all of our senior players and getting them on the field to give them an opportunity. And as I said earlier, the fact that we were able to move on, we won our 3 games, and yet all of those guys had a part in it. And I say a part, they genuinely had a part. They did something, on a positive to get us to where we are right now, a little rest day, and then, building into next week to try to advance again.
So now your quote that you mentioned on the last podcast is going to come to life, right? You got to hate losing more than you love winning, right? Because now those wins don't matter. In the long scheme of things, when they go to college, yes, this whole tournament, everything that happens in this tournament matters. But if you're trying to get to the next round, the last 3 wins, you're pushing them out of your mind. So.
Yeah, that's so true. I think, look, something like this, like you just said, we have so many guys moving on to the next level, but something like this, because it's different, is going to stick into their memories for, I think, a long time. And now the fact that, it was funny too, just in the intensity of, our second game was our second and third games were pretty close games. And, you could just see the intensity in our guys. You could see the enthusiasm and, the passion. Like, our kid that we threw last night, Nicky Beadle, he is just a passionate, very animated guy, pumping his fist, running, sprinting off the mound. He's always talking to himself and talking to everybody else around him as he's doing it. And I think it just gets everybody really excited. So, I think that part of it, you could just see during these 3 games, that intensity and that passion just building, with every inning that went forward. So, that was pretty cool. That was the part that, I guess you don't know after being laid off for 4 months, but, our guys snapped right back into it, man. And they were out there ready to compete, ready to go do what they had to do to move on.
You mentioned energy, and that's all we talk about at All Out Athletes is that energy. You got to have that energy. And in baseball, more than any sport, because of how slow moving the game is, to constantly, because if you're just energized the whole time, you'll burn out in 10 minutes.
True.
You constantly have to, and then you have that one player who doesn't stop talking. And for some people, it could be kind of annoying if they're not into it. If they're not into it, but then eventually they come around like, all right, let's they take the 3rd or 4th inning, but that one player's pumped when the game starts. Everybody needs that player.
What a different dynamic in a sense. And I thought about a couple of things before this thing started. And the first thing was this, is that, we're very, we're kind of a very disciplined program. We're very, I like to talk to our guys in close quarters between innings after, when we come off the field before we hit. So I knew with social distancing and things like that, we weren't going to be able to do that as much. So, I kind of already put that into my mind. I let our players know we weren't going to do that as much. And then also, because of what these guys had to deal with for the last 4 months, and not being able to play and missing out on their senior season, I thought to myself that, this group is a really, they're really animated. So, during the season, I would talk to certain guys about, tone it down, or, just watch what you're saying here, and, be more refined, if you will, but now I'm kind of allowing it to go where almost like, they're trying to do with these all-star weekends with Major League Baseball, where it's kind of more about the player. And so I want these guys to be able to kind of let themselves be emotional a little bit. We had a couple guys, do some things offensively, and, they're kind of pimping a home run, or, little things like that. And, normally I'd say something to them just to bring them back, but this is more about, I want them to have fun with it, and it was something I really had a thought about before this, because I can't imagine what these guys, I can imagine a little bit, but I can't imagine for them personally what they're feeling about now losing out on that senior season, and now having this opportunity to play together. I want them to enjoy it, and I want them to, be able to show that, just that exuberance, man, that excitement that they have, from maybe a little bit more of a personal level. We're more of like, we want to be in that team thing, but, I know that our guys want to win. They want to win with each other, and I know that they're going to be a little animated with this. So kind of, I'm taking the cuffs off a little bit, if you will, to let them enjoy it, because I think, everybody deserves to enjoy it a little bit more, now that we're able to get back on the field.
Yeah, we talk here about different types of energy, and
Yeah.
one of them we talk about is how some people have like that, like I call it Chuck E. Cheese energy. It was like, come on, everybody, let's go. It's a
Yeah.
little Chuck E. Cheese like, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then,
Yeah.
where they're fooling around and they're not being serious, kind of like
Right. Right.
that a Mickey Mouse type of energy, or
Correct.
as you're talking, but you're talking about something different. You're talking about an over celebration, right?
Yeah.
Where they celebrate too much, and then you got to yank on the leash a little bit. All right, let's bring it back a little bit. But that's what coaches are there for, because what happens is, how many times have you seen? You've been around the game a long time, where you see an over celebration and they lose focus. So sometimes we're too excited that we lose our focus. And sometimes we're not excited enough to be focused, right?
Correct.
And that's why I understand that you pull the reins back. Wait, we haven't won the game yet. We got to take it.
That's right.
And that's the thing. And especially in like baseball, there's a lot of downtime. So you have time to pull on the leash. Hey, we got to calm down a little bit. And other sports, take basketball, for instance, you have people celebrate as soon as they score. The other team attacks their celebration. They're not back on defense. Yeah. So in baseball, you have and now you're saying, you know what? I'm going to let it go a little bit. Yeah. I'm sure if it gets too much, you'll yank out when you have to. Correct. Especially you got an elimination game coming up. So
yeah. And you know what it is more? I think it's more just the chameleon of being a coach. I think this is a different circumstance than anything, like it would be in the regular season. So, I want to recognize that. And we've talked about it verbally with our guys, and I said to them, look, this is going to be a little different, and you should be able to enjoy it. Man, I said, let's let it fly, and we want these guys to kind of just celebrate being back out there. And, but you make a great point in that, in the dugout, we'll say to a couple senior pitchers or a couple guys that aren't in the game at the time, hey, make sure we're controlling things in here. Let's have some fun, but, make sure we're not messing around too much. Make sure we're not fooling around and kind of losing the focus of the game, as you said earlier. But I think, as we keep talking about that with our group of guys, I think that's where, we're not going to miscommunicate there. I think that, they can handle that. And I want them to handle it too, because again, at the end of the day, we have to have fun going through these 2 weeks. I mean, they were locked in for a while, not being able to do much and not knowing what was going on. And, now now for them, there's a little light at the end of the tunnel. So, I want them to celebrate that, man. I want them to have fun with it. And, as we keep doing the things that we're doing on the field, that's what makes it fun too. So, we want to win to spend more time with each other and play another game.
And that's what great coaches do, as it comes from experience, right? When to know when to let them go and when to pull them back a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And that comes with the experience of
And it looked, like I said, this is something different. This is like an extra. This was like an overtime, if you will, because of missing out on the spring. So we're going to take advantage of it. I want them to take advantage of it, and you see the excitement on their faces. You see how they're coming out to practice before. We'll take BP and take some ground balls before we play. So we meet up at a field and we work out, and then we go over to wherever we're playing, and you can just see it there. It starts to build up there, and then once we get to our field or stadium, wherever we're playing, it's they have their heads on right. They're an intense group of guys. They're an emotional group of guys, and they want to win, man. They want to get after it, and they want to do what they have to do to move on and spend these next couple of weeks together.
Last time I spoke about the look on your face when you talk about the passion and energy that athletes have.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of it gets lost. What is sports for? So one of the things that we think at all our athletes that sports is for is that living in the moment, right? You're excited. You're living in the moment. And that's what sports is. And you're excited for what's happening right now. There's no later, right? Sometimes it's hard to live in the moment after that strikeout. If you're carrying it with you out on the field. And again, you can carry something with you from the past to help you ignite you in the moment, right? To help you go forward in the moment, not to hurt you, but to help you, to contribute to you.
Absolutely. And it's ironic that you say that, because when we put that, when I've been putting my chart together of where everyone is going to be every inning, who's playing, who's coming out, on the bottom it says three things. It says be ready, be in the moment, and compete. And I put those three things. It's kind of like our little thing right now, for this tournament. And it's really just about that. It's about, we've talked about having this opportunity, to spend the time together and hopefully stay around in this tournament. And we want to just take advantage of that fact. So, it's just about that. It's just about, be prepared to do your job, and, be ready to compete, but be in the moment. We know where, we have so many guys that really they're not even our guys anymore. They're not high school guys anymore, man. They're college guys, and they're going to be going to play. And if summer leagues were being played right now, they'd be playing there and preparing for their freshman year. So we're able to kind of hold on to them for that little extra time. And we said, look, take advantage of this, man. And it's just that being the moment part of it, of taking advantage of being able to spend a few more weeks together.
So, I love all the quotes and I love all the sayings.
Yeah.
And I love to expand on them. So I can't let that one go by. So you said the
Right.
three things: be ready,
Yeah.
be in the moment, and compete. Let's talk about be ready for one quick second. So
Yep.
what we like to say is, if you stay ready, you never have to get ready.
Correct.
That's one way to be ready.
Right. Right.
It's to stay ready, because look what happened. The tournament sprung on us, and players had, we better start training. So we got to stay ready. You never know. And being in the moment in sports is probably the most. It's like a high, right?
Yeah.
You got trouble at home. Somebody passes in your family. Who's going through a divorce? Who's having trouble with their kids? And sports takes you right into the moment of what's going on right here. Are you right here, right now? And when you're batting, you're right here. There's nothing more. When you're at bat, if you're not right here, right now, you might as well. If you're not focused on that next pitch, you get hit with the ball. You better be right here, right now.
Yeah.
And the last one you said was compete. Right?
Oh man.
So if you don't have that battle look on your faces, you're talking about the passion and energy. I just did a podcast with Dr. Gerber. We have on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. He's a sports psychologist. And one we just did, it's actually going to drop in a couple months. He showed up a picture. He held up a magazine of Mike Tyson from 25 years ago. And he's going against Larry Holmes, and he's sitting in the corner, and his eyes, his focus. So you talk about being in the moment.
Oh, yeah.
The focus that he had, that, as you're saying, your athletes, they're passionate, they're energized. Yes, what are they getting ready for? They're getting ready to go into battle. And that's what it is. You're battling the other team. And that's why sports, without the other team, there's no game. And you're ready to go into that battle. I love that. Be ready, be in the moment, and compete. Love it.
That's it.
But so, Coach, you want to let us know what's going on Tuesday, what time the game is, where it's at?
Well, looking at it this morning, I think we're still a site to be determined. I think we were supposed to be at Arm & Hammer, and I think now something is on hold from that. We saw some time slots last night, and we thought we saw that we were going to be at Arm & Hammer. I think this morning that may have been altered or changed, and I'm kind of waiting for confirmation. But that doesn't, I don't really care where we are, where we play, what time we play. Like I said, today's an off day, and then Saturday, Sunday, Monday, we're going to get our workouts in, and we're going to get ourselves prepared for wherever we're going Tuesday. I think we're playing Middlesex, as a matter of fact. I don't think that has changed, but I think the site and time might be changing. But, we're going to go do our thing, and we're going to prepare and just get our guys ready. I mean, we're not looking to go crazy here either. We want to stay sharp. We want to just keep our guys on the ready, and just let them get their swings. Let our pitchers do our work, and we're going to do our work in between starts, as we would normally do. And we're going to try to get ourselves. I'm a big defensive guy. I just believe in defense. I think our pitching is pretty good right now. So, we really want to just tune up and fine tune our defense a little bit. Because I just think with what our pitching is, and if we can be solid defensively, I think we could probably choke off a lot of offensive burst, so to speak, and we could stop that, by playing good defense behind our pitchers attacking the plate. And you never know. You're dealing with young kids, of course, and our first 3 games, man, pitching was money. We were working ahead. We were throwing a lot of strikes. We were winning the 1-1 battle, and we were making plays behind them. And we want to be able to continue to do that. And it's when guys are falling behind. It's when guys are when the game is slowing down. That's where I think guys defensively break down. That's where they start to lose a little focus. And I think that's where mistakes come into play. So we always talk about the working parts of the ball game, of the pace of the game, so to speak. It's one thing we always yell out to our pitchers: set a pace, man, set a tone. We want those guys behind you, playing for you, playing with you. And I think too, when you have those guys doing that and you're setting the pace, they're making plays for you because they love to play behind you. It's a fast pace. They're always on the ready. Foundation plays and your routine plays turn into great plays, because of the fact that you're ready, and that you're prepared and you're always just, the pace of the game is allowing you to do that stuff. And it lets kids, kind of take themselves to a different level and a different gear they didn't even know that they had.
Coach, most important aspect of defense?
The pre-pitch to me, that's what it is. For those 4 infielders and for those 3 outfielders, it's pre-pitch. It's being athletic, while that pitch is being delivered before the pitch gets into the hitting zone, so that they have an opportunity to get a break and a jump on the ball. If it's a ground ball in the infield, that's going to take it to a hole or line. Same thing in the outfield to a gap or line. As long as those guys they have movement, and they have some momentum, we feel pretty good about them getting to it.
So, Coach, I'm your shortstop. What do you want me to do on?
You better be pretty good. You better be good.
What do you want me to do on the pre-pitch? What exactly you want me to do?
You're getting a little hop, man. Getting a little hop onto the balls of your feet. You're not being heavy with your feet. You're being light. You're also, you're also trying to lean. We're constantly trying to teach our guys to lean as to where their body feels the pitch could be hit, depending upon the swing. You kind of want to know the pitch too. If you're thinking, if breaking ball is coming, you're probably thinking pull side for that hitter, so you can lean that way. If it's a guy throwing a pretty good fastball, and we're throwing fastball, you're probably maybe trying to lean middle away. So it's all those little things. I love that part of the game. That to me is where I have my most fun in practice. I think our guys, they see kind of how we do those things, and that really, I think, is another thing that prepares them. We try to prepare them for the next level that way too. And it's not just about, in between pitches, just isn't about kicking around dirt, turning around, putting outs up to the outfielders, or it's all those other little things that kind of go with the game and give you those little hidden advantages that probably a lot of people don't even realize or see or watch all the time. But it's stuff that are big difference makers to us, and just big difference makers in winning a baseball game too, I think.
So, Coach, you're looking at the shortstop. Depending on where he's leaning, you know what pitch is coming? If you look at your shortstop?
Look, if you're the batter and you can do that, man, you're something special, because it's.
No, I'm asking about you as a coach. So if you look at your own shortstop.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. We're always, during our regular season, we're always on that stuff. Yeah, we always talk about it. Our middle guys converse with each other all the time just about, those little things. And then, we're kind of then talking to our corner guys about it as well. But yeah, they're doing that stuff. Yeah, they're really good at it too. It's something that, it's part of the buy-in process of our program. It's part of just, if they want to play here, and, our guys get excited to want to be around, especially younger guys, that's the stuff that as they're coming up, turning into from a freshman to a sophomore, so on and so forth. Those are the little things that just put you over the top, man. They give you the advantage.
So, Coach, you were happy. How happy were your parents with the social distancing and everything's great with them, and with your sports?
Yeah. I know they were taking a lot of pictures. Like after the first game, there were a couple of pictures of me in my mask, coaching, and my hands were in the air, and you could see I'm kind of yelling, but I got the mask on, so you can't. I think that's been something we've talked about. I bring I bring 3 or 4 hand sanitizers in our ball bucket. I put them out on the bench. We were yelling at guys on day one, to make sure it's spread out. We're moving some guys into the bullpen. We're moving guys around in the dugout area, making guys use hand sanitizer every couple innings. So, yeah, look, it's something that we talked about prior to the start of this with our kids through text, with our parents through email. Just some of the things that we were going to be talking about in terms of just being smart and being healthy, throughout this. So,
Coach, are you putting your hand on a microphone or something because it keeps crinkling or something? Anything there?
no, I don't think I am. I can put it a little louder. I was messing around with the volume before.
Because there's crackling in the background.
I don't hear it.
It's been happening for 20 minutes. It was so low. I didn't.
Yeah.
I just ignored it, but then it started to get louder.
Yeah. I haven't heard any of it. And let me see if it's just somewhere. If you'll excuse me 1 second, let me
It's
just.
happening now, but I mean we're almost done. I'm gonna have to edit this part.
Yeah. Or keep it in. It's kind of the fun part of it, right?
Keep it in.
How's that? Is it any better now? I tried to move the computer a little bit.
No, there's just some crackling, but it's okay. I mean, we can hear you perfectly. So
Okay.
we can
Okay.
we can hear you perfectly. So,
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
All right. So before we end, Coach, you got any last words before you get to your next game on Tuesday? It was supposed to be 6:30 at Arm & Hammer Park, but now we're waiting to hear what's going on. Depending on what website you go to, some of the games are wrong. So you want to check. I've driven to 3 different places in the last 2 days only to find that the game was wrong.
Oh boy. Okay.
So
not us. We were there. We were there on time for our games. We were all right.
Yeah, down there was fine. I should have went down south. Those games were fine. It was up north.
Yeah.
Well, so you have any last words or anything else? Anything else you want to say?
Yeah, sure. We're excited to be able to move on. We're excited to have the opportunity. We get 3 more practice days together and another guaranteed game. And that's what our thought has been. That's kind of our rallying cry right now. The better we can be, the longer we're going to stay together. We want to play baseball. We want to win some games, and we want to keep practicing and playing with each other. We want to keep giving our seniors the opportunity to be around each other. And what more can you ask for with something like this? With the opportunity of something like this. So, I think our guys really appreciate what they have here. I think they appreciate, all the work that's gone into putting this tournament together. And I know I do. I think this has been a pretty good thing. I think it's been pretty cool. I know the governor was out at a couple sites where, just to check things out as well. And I think they have the right idea in mind in terms of social distancing, in terms of just trying to keep everybody safe and healthy. And those are the things too that have to be on everybody's mind as you're bringing all these people together to play a baseball game. And I think people are doing the right thing because I think they know that by doing these things, that allows us to be able to play a baseball game. Just for us, and then all these other things that are going on around the state, the country, and the world. Just by being smart, allows us to be able to enjoy these little moments. So. That's kind of the message right now. And that's what we've been talking about with our guys as well.
Well, Coach, it's been great having you on again. Good luck to you on Tuesday. And what I love most is when you talk about the passion and energy of your team. Because what we do is, we do the podcast Thursday night, as I always mention. It's called Think Like a Champion. And then I do a locker room speech Monday morning to get athletes energized and passionate. But what is all our athletes? What are we trying to do? We're trying to do what some of your athletes have. We're trying to create hunger. If you're not hungry, you're not going to go hunting for a win. You're not going to hunt the whole game to be the best. You want to hunt for the best. You don't want to get hunted by the best. And that's why we're here. We're trying to do what we can to create hungry athletes. Otherwise, it doesn't matter what the coach said. If they're not hungry, you can give any motivational speech you want in the world. If they're not hungry, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And that's why sometimes you want to take that loss a little bit with you.
It's funny too. The game of baseball is it's weird in a sense in that One of the things we always talk about are the middle innings. Like it's like that third, fourth, fifth inning. How many games get lost in those middle innings because hey, you settle in to the first couple innings, and it's almost like you can relax a little bit. And if you're a team that relaxes against a team that's not, and that team that's staying hungry, that team's going to come get you in those middle innings because like I said, the beginning is exciting, the first two innings, and the end can be exciting. But you know, we talk to our guys a lot during our season about, look, the energy we have in the dugout. We don't let guys sit. Pitchers and catchers can sit. That's it. Everybody else is up. Everybody else is into the game. If you're watching signs, you're watching timing on a pitcher and catcher, you're doing something just to better yourself. You're talking, for your team, cheering on your teammates. But you have to have that energy throughout, and you can't lose that energy. It can't become false energy where you sit around for 6 innings and then the seventh inning comes around and you're down by a run or two, and then everybody's up on the gate. When I see that with an opposing team, I know exactly what we have. I don't want to lose that game, because I feel like that there's false energy here, and we'll call our guys out on it too. If I feel like a couple guys don't have that energy throughout a game, and we're not showing that same desire during those innings by staying up. Our guys are good too with encouraging each other to be up and not letting guys sit down, because hey, guy gets frustrated, guy strikes out, punches out, makes an error in the field, comes out and he's feeling sorry for himself. We want that guy right back up on the gate with everybody else. I don't want him sitting in the corner with his head down or his hand in his head in his hands. I want him right back up, because that's going to get that guy through that moment. I don't want him thinking about it. We don't want him thinking about it. We want him getting ready for the next one, whatever it might be. It might be an at-bat after an error. It might be a play in the field after a bad at-bat. But by sitting in the corner, you're thinking about it and you're burying yourself. But when you're up on that gate with everybody else, you're kind of getting that charge back, man. You're getting that energy. You're getting that intensity back. You're getting that focus back. And how many times do you see? We talk about it so much. A guy make an error in the field and he leads off the inning and he punches out, strikes out as a bad at bat, or vice versa. Ends the inning with a bad at bat. Ball gets hit to him at some point the next inning, and he boots it because he wasn't prepared for it, because mentally he was allowing himself to stay in the moment that happened 10 minutes ago instead of where he was, right at that time. And again, those are all teaching moments. And I know a lot of coaches do that. It's a great thing to do. We do it with our guys all the time. We use examples like that, so that our guys, they have that understanding of that and what that means, man. What it means to just kind of stay focused, not allow yourself to get lost in middle innings, and just get on to the next one. And it's almost, you have to have that short memory. No matter what you are doing, you have to have a short memory. You might hit a 3-run home run last inning, but you know what? Now we get a couple runners on, and you're not ready, and a ball gets by you because you're still celebrating. It's you got to just move on and get ready for the next. It's I don't know. That's the fun stuff of coaching, right? I think those are the fun things, to be able to teach your guys so that they know that moving forward in their life and just moving forward on a baseball field.
Right. The only way the past can hurt you is if you continue to remember it, is if you keep thinking about it. So if you like to feel that way, keep thinking about it. And that's it, right? Right. As Emerson once said, go from failure to failure without the loss of enthusiasm. And that's it, right? And you're saying, as you said, be ready, be in the moment. That's it. And that's it. Get up off your butt. Let's go. We need you. They need you. Because if you times your actions by 10, and if everybody acted the way you did, how much energy would the team have right now? So you look at it I look at it as you're either contributing to the environment or you're contaminating it. You're either helping or hurting. There's no in between. There's no neutral. If you're riding a bike and you're cruising in neutral, chances are if you're still going, you're probably going downhill, right? So that's the quote. So you're probably, if you can coast for a long time on a bike, you're probably going downhill. And that's it. You're either moving forward or you're moving backwards. There is no neutral. That's all I'm talking about. You're either holding back or going all out. There is no neutral. There's nothing. Because when you're in neutral, somebody else is passing you by. So you are moving backwards. You're standing.
Let it fly. Let it fly, baby. Let it go.
So, Coach, thanks for coming on. And if anybody wants more energy, just go to YouTube and type in All Out Athletes. But if you wake up too motivated on Mondays, then don't It's not for you. So if you're too motivated Monday morning, don't watch it. It's a locker room speech. It's about 2 to 3 minutes. One of them was good, is the enemy of great. Another one was another one we talked about, let somebody else on your team give all that they've got if you're not going to give all you've got. Just move out of the way. Say, go ahead. I'm not giving it today. And that's it. So if you want that, if you want a professor in sports psychology, he's Thursday night. And I'm sure we're going to have you back on with us again. If you'd like to come back on, maybe. How's your grass doing, by the way?
It's doing pretty good. Got a good cut today. I'm getting some rain tomorrow, so I'm excited for it.
How often you water that grass? You water it every morning? Are you out there with the hose, or are you what's going on?
No, I don't have no hose, man. Sprinklers. Get them going. Get them going. Got some time on. I've had some time on my hands, so it's I gotta pass the time. I had to pass the time.
Coach, favorite baseball team before we end?
My favorite baseball team?
Who is it?
Yanks. I'm a Yanks guy, but I love to watch college baseball. I'll tell you what. During quarantine, we had a ton of games on. They were playing playback games from different years. A lot of college World Series games. I went out there a couple of years ago, and I saw one of my players was playing for Virginia, and they won it. Matty Dice. He's with the Angels right now. He's in the big leagues. Made the big leagues last year. But I got out there to see that. I love college baseball. I love to watch it. It's a great watch. It's me as a coach, I pick up so many things that I watch those guys doing because I can implement those things into our program. Watching a pro game is great, but those guys are so good that they're doing things that I don't know if those guys just they're so good and they're so gifted but at the college level you can do so many little things and teach your guys at the high school level, so I love that. I love watching college baseball.
And when coach says gifted, everyone, don't get it twisted, because they train their butt off to be who they are. To now it looks like they were born with a gift. Right now it looks like it's just part of who they are. And we say it's not talent, it's training, right? And he had a good coach. He had good trainers, and he was hungry. And he was hungry.
Of course, that's it.
You could be the greatest coach in the world. If they're not hungry, then it doesn't matter. Yeah. It doesn't matter what Coach Malta says if they're not hungry. You could give them.
That's right. That's true.
We can give them Derek Jeter. We can give them anybody. Say, do this. Yeah. If they don't, doesn't matter. I mean, but you have great baseball players who run camps. They run camps all over. Nobody listens. People want to do it their way. All right, go ahead. Yeah. They'll try it your way for a little while, but then when you're not looking, a lot of athletes, you got to be hungry to want to be the best. Sounds like you have Matty for years.
Too. Yeah, those best players too. They want constructive criticism. They want to be challenged, and I think when they're able to take that feedback, that's where they can really get themselves better. I think any person, when they're able to deal with, you shouldn't always want to be told how great you are and how good you're doing. You should also want to hear, hey, you can maybe do this a little better. Maybe try this, to allow yourself to get over the hump of whatever it might be. And I think guys that can do that, I think those are the guys they have the confidence, they have the ability then to, work on those smaller things that can get them somewhere, can make a big difference, down the road for them and get them to another level of baseball.
Coach,
or a sport for that matter.
We should have ended already, but you're bringing up some great stuff. So a lot of athletes train what they're good at, right? So then when you show them something they're not good at, so they're used to having 3 or 4 successes out of 5. Now you show them something, now they have 1 success out of 5 and they droop. And it's like, so you've been training your weaknesses the whole time? Like, you should go after something that it takes 1 out of 10 times. You're going to do it once out of 10 times until you could do it 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, and then move on to something else. Master that, and then move on. A lot of times they master and they stay, and they do the same thing over and over again. And as you're saying, what little thing you need to do.
I love that part of it because it's the challenge. It's where, an athlete, a kid's going to get frustrated. And that's where we might bang heads a little bit. And I love the banging heads part of it, because I know, at that point when we start banging heads, that's where we're going to start making some headway, and that's where we're going to get that guy, away from just, look, you want to get in the cage and you just want to work pull side. All right, but you know what? You're going to get into a game, and you're going to be working fastball away, breaking ball away. You got to make the adjustment. I wouldn't throw you middle in because you can crush it. But you have to be able to get into the cage and work on those little things. And I love when younger guys and guys are resistant to that, because that's the challenge of coaching. That's the challenge of trying to make guys better. And we've been so fortunate in Jackson. I've been so fortunate in the guys that I coach. Our guys are such coachable kids, man. It makes practice fun, for us, for me, because they're never hesitant, in trying to work on those little things just to make themselves better, whatever it might be, something that they're struggling with, something that they've struggled with. We've had a ton of guys, make those improvements and become a more solid baseball player because they have the ability to want to work on those weaknesses. They're not afraid of the weaknesses. There are certain guys that are afraid of the weakness, man. They don't want to address it. They don't want to work on it. But when you're not afraid of it and you understand what it is, man, that's higher level stuff. Those are guys that are going to be able to get to another level, and that means that they got a ceiling that they're going to maybe get to one day, and they're going to be really special players.
I did a locker room speech on that one. But Coach, I'm so much better than I was 3 years ago. But Coach, look how good I am at doing it. But Coach, I can do this really good. Yeah. Who cares what you can do? That's not why the coach is here. Him and trainers are here for what you can't do.
Yeah.
Go show your parents. Go show your mother. Go show mommy how great you are. We care, but we care about taking you higher. It's not about what happened, right? If what you did yesterday still looks big to you, you haven't done much today. So
we kind of talk about the same thing in the weight room. Our off-season training. Look, it's become that now. We tell our guys, look, you got to get strong, man, because the guy next to you, the guy that's coming up behind you, the guy that wants your job, we're lifting, man. We're trying to get ourselves bigger, faster, stronger. And you got to buy into that. And our school a couple of years ago put a lot of money into a weight room, and we have a great facility right now. And our guys have really, really taken advantage of that, and it's. Yeah, too. I think that's a big part of the challenge too, as a young kid that wants to become a college baseball player and become a guy that gets to and has the opportunity to get to the next level. It takes all those little things, and again, that's buying stuff. That's just believing it. Every kid does not like to lift. They don't want that hurt, man. They don't want that. They don't want that next day soreness. They don't want that, man. They don't want to. They don't want that, and we have to challenge some guys to get them through that. And it's fun when they do, because then they can't believe that they didn't want to do it. They fall in love with it, and it becomes addicting to them, and they realize how much of a difference it's going to make in the future of them becoming a higher level player.
Yeah, hunger a lot of times gets created when they see the results. Right?
Yeah,
At first it's like, I don't want to, but then when they see the results, especially at the beginning, you get quick results when you're learning something new. A lot of times when it's something new you haven't done before, and then you finally do it, like, oh, wow, I can do that. All right, but that's only once. We got to do it. Yeah. But once they see it, that's when the hunger. That's
it.
That's one of the ways to create hunger in anything, in any sport.
And you know what else too? Like for us, I think the greatest thing for any program, for any, like when your best players are really putting in that time and effort, like we have guys like Tommy Karnick, Ryan Lasko, Carmine, Petosa, Christian Plone. Those guys they're special players in our program. Nicky Beatles, another guy, Jake Wendell, but they're special players in our program that have bought into their off-season conditioning. And when our younger guys see that, those guys are putting in time, they're busting their butts in there. They're sweating through their shirts in there to be that great, to be as good as they are. I think that it says a lot, and it sets a tone, for the program. Those guys have a presence because of that stuff,
I'm working with a captain right now in another sport, and I tell her the same thing that. Oh, you got every coach I have on here says the same thing. If the elite athletes are working their butt off, everybody else comes along. And if that captain can get everybody else in line, the coach, it makes it so much enjoyable for the coach. And coaches tell me it depends on my leadership this year. We got a good team, but it depends on my leaders. It depends on how hard they work and how much they're invested in everybody else. And that's
absolutely.
And
we've all been in that spot where we've had that best player, where we've had that high level player that's, not the worker, not the hard worker, not the hustler, not the guy. Like in baseball, it's, you want to see everybody, kind of moving fast, running off the field, sprinting off the field. There's no slowness to them. There's no lackadaisical work. There's none of that. And we've all had that guy that, has not wanted to push himself. But when you know how special and how good that guy can be, but he's not willing to push himself. And, that's the challenge of it, man. It's kind of, those are the little things I think you dig into. And, that's where it becomes hard with younger guys, because those younger guys, they want to emulate those guys that are, their names in the newspaper, or not newspaper anymore, their names online, their names on a website, that stuff. So I think that's the challenge of it as a coach, when you have to try to break those guys, man. You got to try to mold those guys that, and it's funny because, when I first got to Jackson, we had a couple of really good players there, and they weren't the hardest workers. So it was tough because now I'm a new guy coming in, and I'm trying to implement that stuff. And it was a struggle. It was a battle. It was a little bit of a fight to do it. But, hey, you got to do what you believe in. Right. And you're trying to, as you're trying to push guys and trying to make guys better, I think that's what you got to do, and, but it's hard. That's the hard part of it, because, when those guys aren't doing it, it's going to be tough to get those younger guys to do it too. It's when you talk about, we can talk about changing culture, that's a whole nother podcast, but that's a big deal, man. And like you're talking about, you have to be willing to go through it, man. You have to be willing to go all out, and do everything that you have to do in order to move on and do what you set out to accomplish.
I tell athletes, just watch the way boxers or UFC fighters train, MMA fighters. Do you have that type of energy and focus? If you do, you got a future. And
it's funny because Jackson is such a big wrestling town too. Yes. We've had some great wrestlers come through. We have a great wrestling staff at our place, and that MMA stuff comes. It's very related to wrestling. So we've had a lot of former wrestlers that go into MMA, and they'll come back and work out in our weight room after school, and to see some of the things that they're doing, and just to hear how they're training and that stuff. You make a good point, man. It can be grueling stuff, because they're trying to do all their different, their wrestling moves and their conditioning, and then they do some jujitsu and different things like that. So it's watch those guys and see what they go through. You're right. It's different training, man. It's crazy, but they're so conditioned, man, because then you watch 5 rounds of an MMA, and you're like, man, how the heck is this guy still going? How is he still on his feet? How is he doing it? It's crazy.
Imagine if you had a whole team that trained like an MMA fighter.
Yeah. We may not win the game, but we'd win the fight at the end. That's for sure.
Well, Coach, it's been great having you on, and good luck on Tuesday, and good luck to Jackson Memorial and all the players, and really soak this in, enjoy every second of it. Parents, keep social distancing. It's great that you're going to have it in a stadium, and those stadiums watching a baseball game is awesome. It's awesome down the first baseline, especially at Blue Claws. You can sit in the outfield. It's just great. That's a great stadium. So, Coach, thanks for coming on again. And once again, if you go all in on what Coach is saying, if you're hungry and you have the passion of every athlete has that same passion on that whole team, then and only then can the whole team go all out. Coach, thanks for joining us today, and we'll see everybody at the Last Dance Baseball Tournament. Thanks, Coach.
You got it. Thank you so much. I appreciate being here again.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. I kept looking away, looking at the clock. Eventually, I just stopped looking. So thanks for everybody coming on. This might be longer than the last one, but hey, watch what you want to watch. Fast forward to there's some great parts in here. So I'm going to leave it all in. I'm leaving it all in, Coach.
Good, thank you.
Next time we'll talk about the 5 most important principles of taking care of a lawn for those lawn gurus out there. All right, Coach. Take care.
All right, thanks a lot. See you later.
See you later. Hey, Coach D here. Thank you, Coach Frank Malta, for coming on. It was another long one. And good luck to Jackson Memorial High School on Tuesday night. And on tomorrow night's Last Dance Baseball podcast, we're bringing back the Group 3 champion from Somerville High School, Coach Chris Banos. He's going to give a final message to the seniors as his team round up 2-1. And if you want us to come and ignite the fire within your organization, just email us, alloutathletes@gmail.com. Here's a sneak peek of our Thursday night Think Like a Champion podcast, 8 p.m. Check it out.
Oh, what kind of athlete, what kind of student are you? There's a whole different way of approaching this. Are you willing or are you eager? But we could spot the eagers immediately. You want to know why? There's so few of them.
So number one, do you accept feedback? How eager are you to accept that feedback? Are you that eager to be the best?
Go up to the coach and say, Coach, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10, I'm the most eager player you've ever coached, and 1, I'm the least eager. What would you rate me? What do I have to do to get to a 10?
Is the goals at the end, the championship at the end that they want, the athlete that they want to be never leaves their mind.